Sadler. I'm in Cuba, Havana, Cuba, on my quest for the best.
This is his family. This is a privately owned restaurant, not government owned, and that we should speak to the girls and tell them exactly what it is we're looking to do, looking to find out, and happy to help us.
It's one of the things that's kind of unique in Cuba is that there are some government-owned restaurants and there are some privately owned restaurants, and usually they're labeled what they are. And this one here is a family-owned, privately owned restaurant. So we're going to talk to some of the folks here, talk about what kind of dishes they do, how they do them, what is the most popular dish in Cuba, and we'll take a look behind in the kitchen. What I want to know is, you now own your own restaurant.
Ese es su restaurante propio.
How was it able to
Yo trabajo acá con la familia, trabajo en estos restaurantes
Yeah,
acá.
he works here with the family that owns it. Pero
okay, with the family owns it. When did they start this restaurant?
¿Cuándo empezaron este restaurante?
Hace casi 2 años ya.
Almost 2 years.
That was because of Obama?
Yes.
Yes. And before then, they could not own?
Antes de eso.
Antes de eso estábamos, pero ilegal.
Okay, before that it was illegal to own anything on your own. And Obama is the one that opened the doors for the locals here to be allowed to own their own restaurant.
So I would believe that the locals really like Obama.
Sure, claro, por supuesto, sure.
Claro, of course, sure.
I love it, people. Every people that from Cuba, I love it, Obama.
Yes.
Everybody from Cuba
loves Obama.
I remember my father opened the door, you know.
Open the door.
Exposed to the Obama, to you, it's my country now, you know.
Good, good, good. Very good. Okay, so now we're going to go back into the kitchen. We're going to find out what ingredients are used in the dish. We're going to find out how available they are and how they make the dishes. So you get a good idea of what they do and one of the most popular dishes in Cuba. Okay, follow me in. Buenas. Buenas.
¿Ahora qué están haciendo aquí?
Ahora estamos montando los platos.
¿Pero qué ponen en los platos?
Ahora en este momento estamos haciendo la mariscada.
Okay.
En este momento no tenemos pescado.
Okay.
Que lleva pescado, langosta y camarón.
Okay, so right
con una
now.
salsa americana, una salsita americana, ¿ves? Con una reducción de los mismos mariscos. O sea, se hace un brunoise con estos mismos mariscos, o sea, las mismas.
So they make the reduction out of the shrimp.
Out of the shrimp.
Out of the shrimp, they're making the reduction
Now, what dish
for the
is this they're
sauce.
making right now?
And this is just simply a mix of seafood. However, usually they make it with fish.
Okay.
They have no fish available.
Now, is that common that you run out of
Es
certain
común que
ingredients?
no se encuentra, vamos a decir, ingredientes como el pescado o otros ingredientes.
A ver, el pescado, aquí en Cuba sí tenemos bastante variedad. Sobre todo los pescados azules y los pescados llamados blancos, brazos. Lo que no tenemos es las percas del Nilo y esas cosas, pero de la agua salada sí tenemos. O sea, los emperadores, los canteros, las albacoras, los mitos, esos son pescados que son bastante comunes. O sea, el bacalao y esas cosas no, pero este tipo de pescados que son azules, que son carnosos y bastante aceitosos sí tenemos.
Okay, so the bluefish, that's more common, they do have, but however, at this very moment, they cannot even get the common fish, it's just not available, they have to wait for.
So it is a common occurrence that they run out of certain ingredients and then they
Correct.
adjust by doing more of another ingredient.
Exactly,
Is that
in
what
this case, they did more shrimp, for
they do? More
example.
shrimp. So we have a shrimp reduction here.
Yes.
We have obviously a lobster tail. What
Correct.
else do we have here?
¿Y qué más hay?
Es una piña, o sea, la piña glaseada, la langosta y el camarón.
Okay, that's all. It's
Debería haber pescado, pero bueno, en estos momentos en la casa no lo tenemos.
Okay, so it's a pineapple, and that's a mix of the pineapple, and they grill the pineapple, okay? And then they cut it up and they mix more shrimp into it. So basically what they do is they make use of whatever ingredients they have. And they keep adding it to the dish, but in a different way.
Right, so they use some of the pineapple for the reduction.
Yes,
Very interesting.
yes,
Very
correct, correct.
Okay,
So, Jay,
yes,
why is there a shortage? Is it seasonal reason?
right, that's a good question. Would you ask them, why is there a shortage? Is it seasonal shortages or is it market condition?
¿Por qué no se puede conseguir el pescado? Quieren saber
Ahora en
ahora, en
estos
este momento.
momentos no hay porque eso, a ver, en Cuba nosotros no tenemos un mercado mayorista donde nosotros podemos comprar productos frescos. Nosotros dependemos de otras cosas, de otros factores que en estos momentos en las tiendas no lo tenemos.
Okay, so they depend on the market to go and buy the fresh fish.
Right.
However, right now it's not available. It's just,
So it's
that's
market
it.
conditions.
It's a market condition,
Market
that's
conditions,
it.
Right, okay. So
But-
now, over here now, whoops, what they're making, I don't want to get in your way. So obviously eggplant, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Dígame.
Sí, esos son los vegetales ahora.
Sí.
This is rice
So
base,
he's making a vegetable paella.
a vegetable
So-
paella,
sí.
overnight eggplant.
Vegetable paella, and the vegetables that he's putting in the yellow rice are
Right.
peppers
And by the way, that's one of the
eggplant.
things, in Cuba, it's yellow rice that they use. Okay, so that's what you will find. All of Cuba is yellow rice. And what other vegetables? Obviously tomatoes. What else do we have here? It looks like we have a pepper,
Yes,
right? And so I know.
and some onions.
And some onions, okay? And that's a paella, which is probably one of the bigger dishes
Yeah,
here.
and the paella, what makes the rice yellow is using a saffron,
Right?
very little of it because it's very, very
And
expensive.
start with the white
Yes.
rice and then turn it over to
Yes,
saffron.
correct.
Which also adds some flavor into it as well.
Yeah, and then there's a Spanish, you can only get it in Spanish countries, it's called bijol, B-I-J-O-L.
And what is that?
And again, it gives it color, but it's also spicy, it gives it a
Okay.
taste.
Now this dish,
That's ropa vieja,
which is,
and that is shredded beef.
right, which is very popular here.
Yes, one of the most popular dishes here. ¿Y qué más está en la ropa vieja? Está la
Esto es
carne.
veático, no solamente ají, cebolla, se hace una salsa criolla que es una salsa nuestra. Está la salsa madre, está la salsa de tomate, pero nosotros hacemos una salsa criolla que tiene alto contenido de ají, cebolla, comino, ajo, laurel, orégano,
Wow.
un toquecito de albahaca. Y bueno, si el tomate lo necesita, se le echa un poquito de azúcar y un toquecito de algún
Okay,
ácido.
so this is their own homemade sauce for
Okay.
the ropa vieja.
Right.
And they put, the difference is that they add things like laurel, they add things like alpaca,
All right.
and
These are all
and
different
then
spices that they have.
the spices.
We don't find these in the States.
Oregano, garlic, lots of garlic. Garlic is a staple
Right.
in most dishes here.
Okay.
Onions, peppers, and some peas,
Right.
and you can see
Top of it looks like mango.
the
Right,
cilantro.
cilantro. Okay. And so this is also one of their more popular dishes.
Yes,
isn't
it is,
And
and
by
this
the
is
way,
their own.
these are the two dishes we are trying today.
Yes, it is,
Right,
they
so we'll
are.
be able to give you an idea of what these are like. These are the two that we're getting today. So we'll get these, they'll come out. We'll talk about how they taste. We'll go from there. Let's take a look. You can take a look at some of the dishes that you saw in the kitchen being prepared. This is it right now. This is the seafood, which we showed you being made with the pineapple and the shrimp reduction. Two things here are, this is
These are plantains.
plantains, but this is the plantain that's more like a potato than like we're used to in the U.S., which is more like a banana. And this is sweet potato. And that's usually pretty typical. That would be kind of like your appetizer in Cuba. Now this dish is that pork,
Ropa vieja.
right? That's what they call it. It's the
Shredded beef.
shredded beef. And we saw this made. This is and another shredded beef. Here what we have is the rice. This is rice, as you can see it, with black beans. That's why it's this color. Okay, and now here we have the paella.
Paella,
Paella. Okay,
which is yellow rice.
with the eggplant.
And he's having the vegetable paella.
Right, okay. We'll take our feast and let's see what we find. Because of the scarcity in Cuba, a lot of the residents of Cuba grow their own herbs. And they don't have a garden usually this big. This is a pretty good sized garden in Cuba, but they'll grow mint, they'll grow, what else do they have? Mint, what else did she say? Cilantro. And again, they grow these herbs. I think they have rosemary here. I saw it somewhere coming in. And again, this way they don't have to worry about trying to find it in the market. They're able to go through their garden and pick their local. Most of the Cubans will have pots in their windows. They have windows like this, and they'll have pots between the bars and the windows, and that's where they grow their herbs. In this case, they have their own garden to grow their herbs, so it's a little bit different. But that gives you an idea that a lot of the herbs she uses, she grows right here. So what we have here is a typical Cuban home. And we have Hugo and Mary, who have graciously told us that they will show us how they make, how they live, how they make their food. So we'll get a real good idea of what the actual Cuban does when they make their different dishes. So we have a couple of dishes we'll go over here, we'll take a look at them, and we'll go from there. So follow me in, let's meet Hugo and Mary.
Oye, ¿usted qué? ¿Cómo llegó bien? ¿Has tenido comunicación de él?
Sí, yes.
Hugo,
So where do you want me
Go.
first? Oh,
Sí.
Hugo,
see.
and this is Mary. 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 They're going to show us how they cook, what kind of dishes they make in their home. So we'll go into the kitchen, we'll take a look at what they're making, and we'll just go to the next step and you'll get a real good idea of what the actual Cuban people make for themselves. So let's follow us into the kitchen.
You've got the other places.
This is good, you can go there.
Está chiquito, pero
Good.
es chiquitita.
Now,
Yo conozco.
I should also introduce Lucy, if you haven't met Lucy before. Lucy is our interpreter who lets us know because we don't speak Spanish, so I don't know Spanish, and Lucy will fill me in on everything that Mary is making. Okay, so this is a typical Cuban kitchen. You can see it's very tight. There's not a lot of room, so they have to work on a real small stove, but they come up with some really interesting dishes that you can be made in a very small area. And this is very typical of a Cuban family. So Mary, Mary, can you show us what you do? Okay.
Let me find out what's there.
Okay. So you can. So now this is your typical oven. This is your typical dish, and we're going to go over with Mary how she made this and what it is. And the first thing she makes is what's called congri, which actually is interpreted as Congo rice. It actually came from the Congo. And most people are not aware of that, but that's what this is. Most Cubans, this is a very important dish, and it's also known as black rice.
Correct.
And it's made in a pressure cooker. Now, how long do you take to make this?
¿Cuánto tiempo te toma haciendo el congri?
Bueno, primero hay que ablandar los frijoles.
Okay, first we have to soften the black beans.
Right.
¿Cómo tú haces eso?
Eso, yo echo los frijoles, después que los enjuago, los echo en agua y los pongo a cocinar en olla de presión.
Okay, so the very first thing she does is she takes the black beans, she adds water to them, and she begins to cook them in the pressure cooker.
So how long does she cook the black
¿Y
beans?
por
in the
cuánto
pressure
tiempo
cooker?
lo pones?
Esto, yo los puse 45, pero aquí hay que ponerlo más tiempo.
45.
35, 45
35 to
minutos.
45
Okay.
minutes,
So
okay.
now you've done your black beans. What do you do
Y
next?
entonces, ¿qué le pones entonces?
Entonces, después que están ya los frijoles blanditos,
After they're soft,
se hace un sofrito.
okay,
Right.
they make what's called a
Un
sofrito.
sofrito, se le echa ají, o
Garlic.
pimiento, ají o pimiento. Se le echa cebolla.
Onions.
Now, garlic is a very big ingredient in Cuba. They use garlic in most every dish.
Yes.
And so that's, most people would think garlic is so big in Italian dishes, which it is, but it's an extremely important ingredient in a Cuban dishes.
And they also have
Cebolla.
pimiento, onions.
Onions.
Ajo,
Sí,
ajo.
yeah.
Comino, se le echa
Cumin.
un poquito de comino,
Cumin.
Okay, cumin.
comino y un poquitico de orégano, muy poquito.
And oregano.
And oregano. Oh, I
And
did not know
oregano.
you use oregano. Wow. Okay, very
Entonces
interesting.
ya se une después el arroz, como se le echa, porque el frijol que deja agua, o sea, el líquido. Yo más o menos a este le eché dos o tres tazas por 2 tazas de líquido, casi media de
Está bien, no
líquido,
importa
por
la
el
cantidad.
arroz, porque según el arroz y según
Okay, so what she said is
el
that she...
arroz es según le echa el agua del arroz, de los
They're
frijoles,
frijoles.
para cocinar el arroz.
So she uses the water from the beans
Right.
that we're cooking in. She puts extra water in there because then that water is used to cook now the rice that she adds to it.
Right, so she puts everything back in the pressure
Back in the
cooker.
pressure
Then
cooker.
you mix it in the
Yes.
pressure cooker.
Correct.
Add the water. And then how long do you cook it
¿Y
now?
por cuánto tiempo entonces ahora?
Ya después yo, cuando lo pongo a cocinar ya aquí, es por yo le doy 10 minutos, 5 minutos, según el arroz también. porque-
Depending on the rice, because they get different types of rice here. So one rice may take longer than the other. So it's anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes.
So you adjust your cooking time by the type of rice that is available?
Sí. Por el tipo de
De
arroz que tú
arroz,
compras
de arroz.
y como tú sabes el tiempo.
Sí, claro.
Yeah, she
Right,
already knows
okay.
the type of rice and how
Right.
long each one
Ese-
would take.
se
And when
le-
you say the type of rice, what types of
¿Y
rice
por qué
are
hay diferentes
available?
arroz aquí?
aquí
¿Cuáles son?
Sí, hay unos que se te en sopa,
¿Qué qué?
que se te pone muy blandito. Tú le echas, por ejemplo, una taza de agua a una taza
¿Y
de
no tiene un
arroz.
nombre ese de arroz? No, she just knows them by the different types, and she said she'll go to the store and she'll know, okay, this one is not the very good one, so it's too soft already, so we put in less water, less time.
Oh, so
And then the
more the
other
quality of
one,
the rice than the
exactly,
type of
yes,
rice.
right, the quality.
Okay, so
the
that's
quality.
very interesting.
Yeah.
So she has to look at the quality of the rice
Yeah.
every time.
Yes,
And that's how you cook it.
yes.
Very interesting. Okay, so we now put all the ingredients in the pressure cooker.
Entonces,
We turn back on.
Right,
For how long?
for about 10 minutes.
10 minutes, according to the rice. Right.
Correct.
Okay, so now this dish is done.
Yes.
Okay, what do we do next?
Y
What is the
ahora-
next thing?
yo
El próximo, sí.
le dijimos lo del sofrito que se le...
Sí, sí, ya. ¿Y cuál es el próximo plato que nos vas a
El
enseñar?
plato yo te voy a enseñar el puerco,
Okay.
masas de puerco asada.
Okay, so what this is the pork, which again is like the main meat here. And what she did is she bought a big fresh ham. It's really what that is.
Right.
And then she cut it in pieces to cook. Ahora, ¿cómo tú lo cocinaste? ¿Qué le
Ajá.
pusiste antes de cocinarlo?
Now, is the
Se
pork,
pone en adobo.
is the pork always available?
¿Siempre puedes conseguir aquí el cerdo?
Sí,
Yes,
Okay, so they can always get pork and they can always get the rice.
Right.
That's always available.
correct.
Okay.
¿cómo se llama? Lo que hoy no había con el pellejo ese de afuera,
Okay, okay.
porque estaba limpio ya, ¿ves? Que no tiene... No
Okay,
tiene por fuera.
usually, this is the difference. She couldn't get the cut that has the skin on it, which is very popular here
That's preferred,
to
isn't it?
eat.
The cut with the skin?
Yes, because you want to
Right.
eat the skin.
Right, because the skin is where a lot of the juice is, right? The skin is where a lot of the taste is, right? Okay? So
Yes,
that's very
right.
popular. Okay.
Okay, but, so she's showing you that these particular cuts did not have the skin. Ahora, ¿qué
Right.
hiciste antes de cocinarlo?
Antes de cocinarlo, se pone un adobo, yo con naranja agria o limón. Yo conseguí unas naranjas agrias, lo hice con naranja agria que queda muy sabroso.
Okay, you make what's called mojo first.
Right?
Okay, and I'll start giving you the ingredients. It's made with orange juice, lemon juice,
Ajo,
garlic,
machacado,
Right.
really crushed garlic,
Okay.
ajo, un poquito de comino,
cumin
Cool.
again,
sí, y un poquitico de orégano. No
and
mucho,
more
porque
oregano.
and more oregano. So you're really using the same ingredients in both, in most cases.
Sal después.
And salt and pepper.
And salt and pepper, okay.
Llevan,
And you mix that all together?
lleva
and then-
naranja agria. Pero
Sí,
no
ya se
de-
lo dije,
sí.
okay. Y, she pours it over and she, ¿por cuánto tiempo lo dejas? Antes de ponerlo en el horno, tú no lo dejas
Sí,
con...
sí, yo lo puse anoche ya con
El
el
mojo.
adobo, el mojo.
Sí.
Yo lo
Pero,
puse anoche.
okay, so what she did is
Pero-
she last night added this mojo to it and she let it marinate overnight.
In that mix?
Absolutely, yes.
Ah, okay, okay.
Okay.
Para que
Nice.
coja-
Right.
Yeah, so
Brings
that
the
it
taste.
so it really gets the taste.
Right.
Se
Gets through the
pincha
meat.
y lo pincho, lo
Okay,
pincho. para
and then
que
she
se le-
keeps putting work into it to make sure the marinade
Para que le
seeps in.
entre.
And
Right.
then also what she's pointing to is in addition to the garlic that's in the actual marinade,
Right.
she takes garlic cloves and slices them and then she puts them inside the
Inside
meat.
the meat.
Inside the meat.
And lets it marinate
Yes,
that way.
correct.
Okay,
correct.
very interesting.
Y entonces ahora cuando lo cocinaste hoy, ¿cómo lo cocinaste?
En el horno.
Okay, in the oven, más o menos.
Más o menos estuvo como, te voy a decir yo, como a las 9, a las 11, o como a las 12 yo lo saqué
So,
porque es muy
2 hours.
gordo. Porque cuando es el que uno compra la pierna, que era lo que yo quería, pero no había, la pierna es más fácil de cocinar. ¿Por qué? Porque es menos gruesa.
Okay, she put that in for 3 hours today, okay? But what she really wanted to do is get the entire leg. And here is where you can get pork, but you cannot necessarily get the cut you want.
And so it's always
So
varies. You
she's-
never know until you
no.
go to the market. Now, by
Right.
the way, the markets for the actual Cuban people are different than the markets that a tourist would go to. And the markets we showed you in one of our previous clips, one of the markets is very limited in what they have. And so they have to work with those ingredients. And so they're always adjusting their dishes based on the ingredients that they can get. And this is a good case where she found the ham that she wanted, the pork that she wanted, but it wasn't the actual cut that she wanted. So she had to work it a little bit differently than what she normally would do. Okay?
Esto es chicharrón. Este es el que yo conseguí un pedacito del cuerito del puerco que no había, porque este no lo tenía. Y yo conseguí un pedacito y lo hice.
Okay, so when she had said earlier that she could not get a piece with the skin on it already, she was able to get separately a piece of skin.
And made it up
And
here.
then she made it this, which is called chicharrone.
And what is chicharrón?
It means the skin
of the...
Es
right, of the pig.
Right.
And ¿y cómo cocinaste esto?
esto se fríe.
And that's fried.
So whenever they do get it with the skin, this is what they always do. They fry it like this.
No,
So it's not left
if
on?
it's with the skin, they will cook it with the skin,
Right.
and the skin comes out
Esto lo
basically
trae-
like this.
So it would be a crust if
It
they
would
cook
be
it
a
with
yes,
the skin.
Exacto.
correct.
Correct, but since she got it separately, she made it like this.
Right,
Very interesting.
right, right,
Okay.
and
Porque
that's
esto era un
fried.
pedacito nomás, porque
Sí.
este no tenía,
Sí, ya,
pelito.
oh, ya se lo
Okay.
enseñé. Okay, y entonces ahora,
La yuca.
okay, and now she wants to show you the yuca.
Okay?
And that is, again,
get that in?
a staple here, and it is a root.
Vamos a correr la parte.
Yuca is a root, and it's really,
A root
it would be like,
vegetable.
it would be like our potatoes. It's pretty much very close to what a yuca is. And so this is their potatoes. And she'll show you how she makes the yuca.
Yuca con mojo.
Okay, again, she makes it with the mojo, which is the marinade
Same
that she
marinade
used
that she
for
used
the
on the ham?
for the pork.
Pork.
Right, correct. Y
Okay.
entonces,
Esto se pela la yuca,
okay, first she peels it. It comes with the hard.
Right.
se pela y se echan a hervir,
It says okay.
a cocinar.
Oh, okay. So then you put it into boiling water until it softens.
In the pressure cooker or just?
Yes.
Sí,
we're
hasta que
wrapping
se
up.
ablanden.
So,
Until it softens.
am I correct that in every Cuban home it's a pressure cooker?
Yes.
Right,
Sí.
this is the
That-
main-
hay uno, sí.
This
Yes.
is the main instrument for
Yes,
making.
correct.
Okay. Main appliance,
Correct.
okay?
Entonces se le echa, después que están así ya, se le echa un mojo
Mhm.
que lleva ajo,
Okay, garlic
Right,
again.
limón o
Lemon
naranja,
again.
Right.
Orange juice.
y ajo, limón o naranja agria y se supone que manteca de puerco porque como se hace es una comida, pero yo no le echo manteca
Okay,
de puerco porque había
and then you also use the from the pork you get whatever fat, whatever drippings are, and also you add it.
You
to
add
it.
that to the
Yeah,
pot.
right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
So we're using a lot of the same spices for every dish,
Correct.
right? And now this goes, all that marinade that you've put in with the, goes into this again. Pressure cooker for how long?
¿Y por cuánto tiempo tú crees que lo cocinas?
la yuca.
Sí.
La yuca según también el tiempo, porque a veces es muy dura
Okay.
y a veces, pero por lo menos media hora, menos de
Yeah, the
media hora.
minimum would be half hour.
Half hour.
Correct.
Okay.
Menos
So
de media.
it varies by the size of the yuca or the, the density
Again,
of
the
each
density of it, right? And
okay.
she knows when she goes to the market exactly which one it is.
So she's able to tell
She can tell.
which one,
is
and
what
she
she's saying.
knows
Yeah.
what she's going to cook.
Right.
Very interesting.
Right.
So a lot of decisions are made on what they find in the market. Okay, and this is just another example of how countries like Cuba adjust
No, you
for
sabe
what
lo
they
que
have
es.
that's available in the market.
Yo lo llevé en un mercado para acá.
Okay, what
Okay.
else? Is that, and this
And
would
this
be a
is-
typical meal?
Absolutely.
Typical meal.
Now, not only is it a typical meal throughout the year, but more importantly, it's the only dish Christmas Eve.
Oh, really? Okay, so this
The
is
dish. This is-
traditional Christmas Eve
Yes,
dish.
yes.
Right.
As well
Okay.
as eating it throughout the year.
Very good. So now we have a real good idea of what they do, the appliances they use, the tight, cramped spaces they work in, but what they produce, we'll find that next.
La-
So Mary has made all our dishes. Now you see it. This is the skin. This is the black rice. Here's the pork. We have sliced tomatoes from her garden. And we have yuca.
yuca.
And we have the salt, a little bit of wine. We brought some of our cakes and her homemade vinegar that she makes herself.
Con el romero.
And we brought some of our cakes as a dessert. So now we're going to dig in. We're going to see what an actual Cuban dinner is all about. Let's go. This is J. Steven Sadler, and for the quest for the best. We're just back from Cuba. I'm going to sit down now and talk to my team about the dishes we found in Cuba and figure out how we can offer these dishes to our local population in this area of Dallas, Texas. This should be an interesting exercise in taking a Cuban dish and making it into something where small town America will find it delightful.